Already in this video, we're going to be looking at Desmos.com, in particular its graphing calculator, in order to understand and use the distance and midpoint formulas to determine the distance and midpoint between a set of points. So Desmos.com is the website. We're going to click graphing calculator. Alternatively, you could type desmos.com/calculator. And it brings up this screen, which is a Cartesian plane plus an input screen where we're going to input some stuff and it's going to graphically display it here. Students on an iPad, you can of course use this website as well. There's also a Desmos app if you want to search on the App Store. And the functionality is more or less the same. It's just on an iPad as opposed to a computer that I'm working on here. On an iPad, you will have this this keyboard, unless you've got a keyboard attached to your iPad, but it's fine. It works exactly the same way. To access some of the capital letters I'll be using, you just go this menu here to get the keyboard up and press this up arrow to get the capital versions of all the letters. It might take a little bit of back and forth because you're going to need to use equals, parentheses, commas, etc. But the functionality is the same. It might just take a little longer. For teachers, I'm going to be using the keyboard mostly, and you should be able to do the same and follow along. So first thing I'm going to do is plot 2 points because we're determining the distance and midpoint between them. So I'm going to do the first one showing how the students would do it, and then I'll do the rest on my keyboard. So I want to be plotting a point, but I also want to be labeling it. So I'm going to use capital A to represent my point. I'm going to say capital A is going to equal, and we represent points in parentheses, ordered pair notation. So the first one's going to be the x coordinate. So I'm going to call this first one 2, and I'm going to put comma, and I'm going to put my y coordinate, let's say 4, so the point should appear here where my cursor is. So 4, close my parentheses, and that has created a point here. Now I'm going to put this keypad away because I can use my keyboard, gives us more screen space. Students and teachers, if you want to deal with some of these settings that can make this point better and make your either teaching better or your learning better, click and hold this red icon here, and it brings up a little menu here. First things first, I want to label this point. Good practice in general when we're graphing in real life or on technology, we want to be labeling our points. And I'm also going to change the size of this label to 2, and I'm going to change its position here with the compass symbol to the top right. So that label is bigger and it's always going to be the top right, so this direction, northeast of my point here. I also can change the color if I like. So if you're a color person and you care about the color, there you go. I'm just going to leave it as default red for now. And you've also got the option to be able to drag your point around. So if you click, if this is on, it is by default, you can actually click and drag your point around, and you'll see that the label is changing with the position of the point. You can also change that ever so slightly. So if you always want the point to be at x equals 2, but you want the y value to change, we click and hold to come back to this menu, and you can see that we can restrict the movement to just a vertical direction, vertical movement. So even if I go left and right, it won't move, but it will go up and down only. And if we change that to just horizontal movement, it does the exact same thing, as you could probably anticipate. So we can't go up or down, just move left or right along the y equals 4 value. So I'm going to leave this at the point 3, 4. Sounds pretty good. If you can't, by the way, like perfectly put it on the point you want, which sometimes happens, especially on the iPads, you can just come back to the input here and just change it by typing in the point that you actually want it to land on. So great, I'm going to leave it like that, and I'm going to generate a second point now. And I might, by the way, to move your Cartesian plane around, zoom in, zoom out, students pinch and spread your fingers apart or get them closer together to zoom in and out, and teachers just scroll on your mouse wheel or pinch and zoom on your trackpad on your laptop. That should be fine for me, this screen size. Alternatively, you can go graph settings in the top right and change some of this functionality. So reverse the contrast. I know a lot of students like the dark background with the more fluorescent colors. If you like that, you can go for that. You can also change the scale or what the step is on your axes. So at the moment I'm stepping in 2s, so 2, 4, 6, etc. If I change that to a 1, I get every point there, which is kind of nice, and I might keep that. So I've got 1s, 2s, etc. So a bit of functionality there. Alternatively as well, you can zoom using these buttons here. It's just less precise. And click home will take you back to the original starting point of your graph. Okay, so a bit of functionality aside, we're going to go now b equals and put a second point in, and I might put the point, let's say a -1. So we're going to go maybe let's go -4 and -2. So it should appear about here. So -4, comma, -2, close my bracket. I want to, you can also click label here if you just want to label it really quickly, but I'm going to use my main menu here. I'm going to label it and change the size to 2, and I'm always going to have it in the bottom left of this point and leave it like that. So I've plotted 2 points now, and we've gone through a bit of functionality to now generate the distance and midpoint between these 2 points. I use 2 functions, the first one being distance. So I click a new one down here, and I go distance, bracket, a, comma, b. And you can see that I'm referencing this point A and this point B as my 2 points. I could, and this is the long way, write the first point is going to be 3, 4, and then put a comma, and then do the second point is -4, -2. And that does it as well. So this is the point, the first point, and this is the second point. But that's very time consuming, and it can't be changed now. Whereas if I change it back to a, comma, b, it gives us the same value because it's referencing the same points. However, if I start moving point A around, you'll notice that my distance down here is changing retroactively to match the new distance between the 2 points. So if I get it really close, it's only a small distance, less than 1 unit away. Whereas if I go really far away, it climbs all the way to about 15. So that's why we use, I'm going to change these back to 3 and 2 or whatever it was. That's why we use these references, A equals and B equals, because this distance formula is going to reference those points even if they change. So at the moment, our distance is 8.06, and that's generated through the Pythagorean theorem, which is c² equals a² plus b², or the square root of the distance here squared plus the distance here squared. And we can calculate that quickly in our heads and see that this distance is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 across, and 1, 2, 3, 4 up. So we should have the distance being the square root, or SQRT, if you want to input it in Desmos. The distance is 7 squared plus, well, I forget how many high it was, 1, 2, 3, 4 up, 4 squared. And you can see we get the same answer here. 7 squared is 49, 4 squared is 16. So we have the square root of 65. Yes, the square root of 65, which is the same thing here. Very close to the square root of 64, which would have been 8. But the square root of 65 there. And that's what this distance formula is doing for you. So you don't have to do all of that Pythagorean theorem or use the distance formula to generate this distance. Also, we have a midpoint formula, but rather than writing the formula, which we would do by hand, in Desmos, we're just going to write midpoint, open a bracket, and again do a, comma, b. And it's going to put a point for me right in the middle of these 2 points. Like the other 2 points, I can edit this. You can change what it looks like here. So whether it's a dot, an open circle, or an X. I'm going to leave it as an X, I like that. And I also want to label this one. Change its size to 2, and maybe I'll always have it in the top left. Or, no, I'm going to have this one changed based on where that midpoint is. So you can see my midpoint AB is at the moment minus 0.50, hasn't moved up or down. If I start moving 3, 2 around, it's going to move the midpoint and the label's going to change as well, which is really cool. And that will follow no matter where I put these 2 points, it'll always be in the middle, which again is why I'm going to be referencing the points with A and B rather than just putting the points into the midpoint formula. I think that's roughly all I really wanted to talk about. Hopefully this helped. Hopefully Desmos is useful to you. It might actually help you answer questions such as determine the distance or the distance between the points 4, 5 and 7, 12, and then determine the midpoint between them. Something like that. You might get a question like that in your studies, and you would work it out by hand and you would do the processes that you've been learning. However, you can check your answers using Desmos. So we would change our points to 4, 5 and 7, 12 up here. So 4, 5, 7, 12, and we can see the distance. Let me zoom out because they're up here. The distance should be 7.615 and the midpoint should be the point 5.5, 8.5. So it's a really, really quick and useful way to check your working, check if you've got the answer to these kinds of questions correct, and just help you understand the midpoint and the distance much better. So teachers, hopefully that helps you with a demonstration tool for students, and students, I hope this helps you understand the concept better.